Hey guys, this is Nalion from Dorks Dungeon, and I just wanted to quickly say before we get into the video that I will be starting to stream every week starting this Friday and then going every Friday for Visual Novel Fridays. At least that's what we'll start out on, but we'll see where the night goes when we get there. The very first thing that we'll be starting off with will be Steins Gate, the original graphic novel. I'll be picking up where I left off on a previous playthrough of it. Those VODs are up on the channel, so you can go watch those there. And with that, let's get into the video. This episode puts us right into the action shortly after the last episode where Takemichi challenges Kiyomasa. And Takemichi very quickly realizes the thing that everybody else was probably already aware of, something that he was probably already aware of before he challenged Kiyomasa. He did not stand a single chance. This fight scene was actually pretty good. Well, I called it a fight scene, but it was more like a one-sided beatdown. However, the actual animation and choreography was good enough where I'm actually excited to see some of the, what I assume will be much larger scale fight scenes that would happen in the future. If, you know, the gang on gang fights happen like I want them to. Takemichi's friends, rightfully so, start to get really worried about Takemichi while he's just getting beaten by Kiyomasa in front of all these people. So much so that Akun starts feeling with something in his pocket. It sounded a little metallic, so I easily assumed it was probably like a knife. Hey Akun, is that a knife in your pocket, or are you just mad that somebody else is pounding Takemichi? Anyways, the crowd starts to give in this really loud "give him death" chant, and Akun starts to walk down like the little bleacher area, I guess they're more like steps, with a knife out and fully ready to stab a man. However, the crowd's overall energy and the death chant starts to fade, and it kind of takes a bit of a turn. They all seem pretty surprised that Takemichi is still standing. Even Kiyomasa looks a little taken aback by the fact that Takemichi hasn't gone down yet. He keeps coming back for more. And this is the moment where the title of the episode, Resolve, starts to show in the show itself. Since Takemichi starts to really show that resolve that it looked like he had regained when he went to see Hina last. He says that he is done running, and he tells Kiyomasa that he will have to kill him before he will give up. So, Kiyomasa, doing what Kiyomasa gonna do, demands to have his bat brought out to him. And that's when things begin to change. We are then introduced to two brand new characters. The first being Mr. Tattoo Braided Ponytail, also known as the Vice Commander of the Tokyo Manji Gang, Ryuji Ken, also known as Draka. And the man, the myth, the legend, the commander of the Tokyo Manji Gang, Sano Manjiro, also known as Mikey. Mikey is one of the two people that Takemichi has to stop from meeting in the future. Once the people in the crowd realize who these two people are, the entire crowd goes into his bow, including Kiyomasa. However, Draka kind of walks up to Kiyomasa and just kicks him right in the gut, puts him in his place right then and there, and tells him that he should have been bowing down lower. For whatever reason, Mikey seems to have taken a bit of a liking to Takemichi and instantly declares them as friends and gives him the nickname of Takemichi. Now, I figure this is probably in typical anime style of he just liked the kid's resolve. Now, I'm going to point out the obvious here, but god damn does Mikey have some dead blank eyes. And Mikey seems pretty smart. One of the very first things that he asks Takemichi is if he's actually in middle school. Careful, Takemichi, your maturity is showing. Mikey then gives us a bit of fan service by one kick KOing Kiyomasa and then catching his hair as he's falling and then continuing to beat him. Then we move into a scene where Takemichi and his friends are at the same place that they were at, but at night, and they're just talking about what the heck just happened and talking about, you know, all those kind of legendary people that they just met. And Akun admits to Takemichi that he was about to stab Kiyomasa in some attempt to get free from the situation that they were in. And I know last episode how I said that Takia was the one who needed to be protected, but at this point, quite honestly, his whole entire group of friends need to be protected. They're all so precious. But the next day comes, and Takemichi is sitting in class when there's suddenly a kind of a commotion going on outside of the room. And that's when his new friend, the commander of the Tokyo Manji gang, Mikey, enters his classroom and just kind of says that he needs to go with them, because they want to hang out. There might be some cops called there in real life, but it's anime, so I guess we'll just roll with it. And it turns out that commotion that they heard outside was Mikey and Draka just beating kids up outside of the classroom. They are almost outside of the school when, bless her soul, Tachibana comes around and she wants her man back. I still can't believe this happened, but she walks right up to Mikey, the commander of the Tokyo Manji gang, and slaps him right across the face. Takemichi had a great facial reaction to this, and he and I happened to have the same facial reaction. My heart dropped. She was just trying to protect him, but like, now she's gonna die. So of course, both Draka and Mikey are super offended, so then Takemichi starts talking back too, so now they're both gonna die. Mikey, with his dead blank eyes, looks right at Takemichi and asks him how he wants to die. Takemichi, with his love for Tachibana, says, "I don't care how, just as long as she's okay." Then Mikey goes in for the punch, but stops halfway and plays it off as a joke. And apparently both he and Drac were in on it, since they both kind of just really ease up on their facial expressions and kind of actually compliment him on how he handled that whole situation. And you know, I gotta admit, they got me with that joke of theirs too. By the time Mikey was like getting ready to punch him, I thought he was gonna get beat. They give up on trying to get Takemichi out of school and instead meet up with them after school, where they talk to both Tachibana and Takemichi. Mikey, in a way, kind of becomes a little wholesome in this scene. He tells Takemichi to, never let go of her, and all this kind of nice stuff, actually. And Tachibana lets Takemichi go off with Mikey and Draka, and they bike ride through town, and Mikey kind of opens up to Takemichi and tells him about his dead brother and about the past, about biker gangs and kind of stuff like that. And it turns out that Takemichi actually reminds Mikey a lot of his dead brother, and that's kind of why he started to take a liking to him. Takemichi comes to the realization that Mikey just likes the delinquent life, but he isn't the type of guy who would cause the current state of the Tokyo Manji gang, well, I guess not current, but the Tokyo Manji gang of 12 years in the future. He's definitely the type of guy who might cause some troubles in the future, considering he wants to start a new era of delinquents and gangs, but, he's not the type who's gonna go down for killing, money laundering, and the incident that kills Tachibana 12 years into the future. He's just not that kind of guy. And that's what makes Takemichi really realize why it's so important for Mikey and the other guy to never meet. Because the only way for Mikey to be still at the head of the current or of the future Tokyo Manji gang is for him to meet this other guy. And on his walk home, Takemichi walks right by him. And that's our first glimpse at the other guy who can't meet the other. I think this one's name is Kiseki, but I might be wrong on that one. And that's where the episode ends. This is probably the first episode that didn't leave me with a bunch of questions at the end. It was pretty straightforward, had a couple of fights, and introduced a couple of new characters. What this episode did do for me, however, is make me pretty excited for the future of the series. I know I really would like to see Takemichi and his new friend Mikey kind of go rival gang mode against Kiseki, and I assume he'll start some sort of faction in the Tokyo Manji gang, and they'll just kind of go at it eventually. And I think that would be really fun to watch. And I know this is only episode 3, but I would say this is probably the best episode so far, and I simply really enjoyed it. But those are just my thoughts on it. But I'm curious to see what you guys are thinking about it and where you think the show will go from here. So leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.